So all right, so let's bring it back a little bit. Tell everybody where you're from, like born and raised.
Well, I'm a Georgia boy all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
However,
yes, sir.
I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
That's a shocker to a lot of people, even when I was in the military. They're like, man, you ain't been to you're a country boy. I say, I am. I was born in the Bronx, right? But Georgia is home for me. And Georgia always been home for me. Even when I was in the military, I always wanted to come back home. You know, even now I'm living in Georgia now. A lot of people get out the military and they typically stay in the city, state, or country that the base they got out of. You know what I'm saying? But not for me. I came back home. So Georgia, all day, every day.
Gotcha. All right. You know, I'm a New Yorker.
Nice.
You know, Georgia is my home. You know, it's crazy. I spent half, and it's like half and half now. You know, half my adult life, I was in New York for 22 years, and then you know, I get here. I'm 43 now, right? So I've been in Georgia longer than I've been in New York. So Georgia's my home. You know, I love Georgia. I mean, Hempstead, New York is my home, but you know, if there was a New York, Georgia, you know, that will be an ideal place for me. You know, I love Georgia. You know, I became a man here. I've had kids here. You know, you know, I have a child now, so you know, I'm raising children now. You know, I became a husband here. You know, so Georgia is a place that will always, you know, be near and dear to my heart, for real. So you mentioned your upbringing. You mentioned, you know, how you grew up in church. So I always ask this. So first of all, what is 10-year-old D-Reigns like?
Man, 10-year-old D-Reigns.
Yeah,
it was rough when I was 10, man. I was fortunately I was exposed to a little bit of everything. And I always explains to people that, you know, things aren't physical but spiritual, right? And so what that means is that from a young age, I was exposed to violence, fighting, being jumping folks. Even at 10, I remember we were still living in Fort Valley, and I had to always. I mean, we took what 10? You 5th grade, right?
Somewhere
4th, 5th grade, somewhere around there, and constantly had to fight, man, just to keep your shoes, keep your clothes. You know, it sucked, man. Or you got picked on because, man, y'all already know how it was. So that's how it was with me. And but by the time I'm 10, man, my childhood kind of went by fast because, dude, it was a lot I was exposed to as a little child, man. So yeah, man, just surviving at 10, you know. And but I had a praying family, and I still have a praying family. I had a praying mom, praying family, and it was leaving Henry, I said Peach County, coming up to Henry County, you know, around that time frame as well. But yeah, man, just reflecting on it, it was rough. Yeah.
I could relate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, shoot, man, it was rough at 6 for me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's good for people to hear that, because I feel like in this time, man, it's always good to share stories, because everybody after COVID, I feel like everybody, like even during COVID, people felt alone. You know, I think right now people feel alone.
The disconnect. But people don't realize we are like a lot in common.
Right. Exactly. Man, we all knew how much we had in common,
Right.
Indeed.
I mean, come on, man. Like the you talk about enslaved people. I mean, the minute you find out how much you have in common, and you sit down and kick it with somebody, don't matter the color. I don't teach my daughter. I try not to teach my daughter color, but she sees it, unfortunately, right? So I just kind of really break it down to her. You know, I try my, you know, when she gets at that moment where she can understand, you know what, it's just really about the human race, right? I'll be honest with you. I'm concerned about my race, right? But I'm more concerned about the human race. You know what I'm saying? Because the moment everybody finds out how much they have in common and really see what's going on and understand that they have the power, right? Because the people have the power. They just don't know they have the power. You know what I'm saying? To do a lot of things and make a lot of things happen. And when they find that out, the blinders come off one day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe it will happen for my daughter's generation, maybe her kids' generation. You know, I try to have faith that will happen, even though we are in these last days that we live in. But you know, I'm just, you know, prayerful that something like that will happen. You know, what you want to say, Trey?
Quick question. Was the fact of us not knowing the connections of the things we have in common, was that done? Do you guys feel like that was done on purpose? Was done intentionally for us not to know how alike we are in a lot of ways, with the things that puts us together and connects us? For sure.
I mean, you know, like I said, I just for me, I mean, I start to understand when you put everything in the box, it's easier to separate. Like, you know, like prime example, you know, when you think about, all right, so, you know, when I think about America, right, I think about how they start our history from slavery, right? Knowing our history goes deeper than that, right? And you know, then you separate us from the Native Americans when they know we're connected to the Native Americans. Anybody who's bronze, black, whatever you want to name the color, any hue that looks like mine, we're connected. You understand what I'm saying? So you think about I was watching, I think I probably told, I'm sure I told this story, Chim. I probably told y'all as well, but you know, I was watching the PBS special on, they was talking about how there's a certain corn in Africa, like corn that's grown in Africa that came from Mexico, right? Mm-hmm. So that basically tells me that my people were trading with people who were in Mexico, right? So they were going back and forth. And why would my people stop at Mexico? You know, if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? Why would they not be in the United States, what you call the United States? You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just different tribes of people. But when you put us in a box like that and in race history, you know, yeah, we're not going to see the common, and then you turn us against each other. That's the overall goal, because once you turn us against each other, that's the confusion that you need right there, right? So now not only you got confusion, but you got people who are not talking. They rather kill each other. They rather hurt each other instead of having, you know, even moments of disagree or, you know, agree. You know, we don't have that because we're fighting. You know what I mean? So,
and it's always funny to wonder. Then you got to take it another step further, and you got to ask, why is that? There's a lot of open door conclusions that you can come to with that one. But yeah,
I mean, mine is just the fact that they scared. That at the end of the day, they scared of losing money. They're scared of losing power. This is to me. I mean, you know, it's so many things. But to me, I added up to be just the simple fact that they're scared because the people have the power, and when they have the power, there's nothing you can do to take it back. To me, it's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, it could be a little deeper, but you know, I like to keep things as simple as possible, so you know, I can, make some, understand it better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's just for me. That's how I summed it up. You know, and please, I they know I'm long-winded too. Y'all gotta cut me off. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta cut me off. That's
you long-winded. I would never guess, bro.
Yeah. No, not you, Teno.
Hey, like Farrakhan say, it's my passion. I'm sorry. It's my passion.
Hempstead Nights, silky slim with the pearly whites. Earned a rep being smooth with the ladies. Plus could fight, kept the knife in his inside coat pocket. 22 strap on his ankle as another option. Protege of Chocolate Tay and OG from around the way. Used to run numbers and push, yay, no Yeezy.
Subscribe for the very latest.